I think there's an inflection point, and that inflection point is the inflationary cycle we are in. That's making, 5-10 times more dental practices than you typically would see in other times to drop PPO plans. So we feel like this is like the beginning of a tidal wave. We feel based on the interest, based on how many people are going through with dropping PPO plans, the world is going to be different 10 years from now, and this is the starting point. And sadly to say, it's because of the inflation that everyone is feeling and having to deal with. Think about it, right? Any other business, you run a hotel, you run a restaurant, you run, an art school, like every other business, the owners of the business have the right to determine how much they charge for their services. When their inputs or costs go up, so let's say they have to pay their people more, or let's say their rent goes up, or let's say if you're a restaurant, your supplies go up. Now you have to somehow pass that expense to your customers. What do? They wake up one morning and say, you know what, my employee cost is up 20%, my food cost is up 30%. So for me to make the same amount of profits I made last year, I need to increase my menu prices if you are a restaurant, or my class, fees if you are if you are in the education business by X. And you put it, you don't need to get any permission, you don't need to ask any money, and then you are off to the races. And even with 30% more restaurant prices, all the restaurants near where I live are like so busy you can't get in. So consumers have no problem paying for things they want. So they understand, the costs are going up.
What you're really saying is that the current inflationary cycle that we're in is causing dentists to really move forward with dropping PPO plans because the current model is not tenable. In fact, one of the reasons it's not tenable, Aaron, our expenses are going up, and yet PPO plans are dropping fees the other way. So dentists are getting squeezed at both ends. And so many dentists are saying, in light of what's going on economically, they really need to look more seriously at this, because it's the only way it can make any sense is to regain control of their fee schedule.
You're 100% right, Gary. I mean, like, it's like that, the straw that broke the camel's back. This is the straw that I think getting hundreds or thousands of dental practice owners to say enough is enough. We are going to control our destiny. And I think, so in some sense, hopefully 10 years from now, we'll look back and say, you know what, this was a good thing to the, dental profession.
But we certainly don't wish an inflationary cycle on anyone.
Right.
I don't want it. You don't want it. I don't want it for any of our listeners. But if it's happening, then you have to look at how you can respond to that in a way that makes sense for you, for your team members, for your patients, and for your community. And we're seeing that as a very definite force that dentists maybe that in the past said, well, I don't like it, but I can live with it, can't live with it anymore.